Welcome to day 5 of our Too Tired to Cook challenge, masterclass, whatever you want, event, whatever you want to call it. I am really excited. Today is the talking about juicing and a juice feast. So we have been talking about how we can boost our energy all week by very simple, easy things. On Monday, we did a soup. You just throw all of your ingredients, your vegetables, your spices into a pot, add some water and simmer it for a couple of hours. Great thing to do on a Sunday afternoon in the winter. And then I've been eating my soup all week. I have one more container left, and I'm thinking, yes, that's for my lunch. On Tuesday, we did a rainbow salad in our mason jars, so you can grab and go. And I want to tell you, ladies, that yesterday, so on Wednesday, I got a call from my daughter. So my daughter was in the Dominican Republic, and she was supposed to be home on Sunday. But we had a snowstorm here in the Toronto area on the weekend. So from, I think, Saturday morning, I ran out and got groceries. And then by the time I got home around noon, it started to snow, and we got over a foot of snow. And so her plane was they closed the airport, and she was unable to come in. So then she's saying, we're coming on Monday morning. Then it was Monday night. Then it was Tuesday. And then it was Wednesday. And on Wednesday, she called me in the morning, all in a panic. Mom, I need to talk to you. She says, we have 2 ways to get home. We're not going to wait anymore. They keep stringing us along and canceling every day. So they said, we want to take another airline, but the only 2 choices we have are to fly into Montreal, stay overnight, and then fly home on Thursday. The other option that she had was to fly into Buffalo on Wednesday and asked me if I would pick her and her friend up. Now, Buffalo, we're in Toronto. We're actually outside of Toronto in Oakville, and Buffalo is an hour and a half drive for us to get to the airport. And so I said, okay, I'll pick you up on Wednesday night. Their plane got delayed, and they didn't get into Buffalo Airport until 1:15 or 12:15 a.m. And that was fine. I picked them up and got home. By the time we got home and I got to bed, it was 2:30 in the morning. And yesterday I got up, I did my normal day. Last night, I was feeling pretty ready just to have a relaxing evening. I was pretty tired. And as I was getting ready for my dinner, I'm thinking, I don't feel like doing anything. And I thought, let me go see what's in the fridge. And I was so happy. I had one more rainbow salad left. I had some of the coleslaw that I had used to make my rainbow salad. I had some baked potatoes, so I warmed up my potatoes. I made my big rainbow salad. I added a balsamic vinaigrette, and I had a beautiful meal. Oh, and I had a little bit of my soup, and I had a beautiful meal, and I felt so good, because my other go-to would have been to make a pot of pasta. And I don't need to tell you, ladies, which was the better option. But because I had everything ready when I was feeling so tired, I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to do anything. I had it there. I had it ready. I didn't have to do anything. So that's the beauty of it. All right, that was my little story. Wednesday, we did overnight oats. And here's another thing for the morning. You can just make your overnight oats and grab it in the morning. You don't need to think about it. And it's so easy just to prep it. You can batch for the whole week. And all you need to do is add a little bit of your plant-based milk, stir it up, add some fruit. And the fruit, like the dates or apricots, like the dried fruit, really gives it the nice sweet flavor. Or you can add a little bit of maple syrup to it as well. But I like using the real food that because it's got all the fiber in it as well and nutrients. And you've got your breakfast ready to go and you don't have to think about it. Yesterday we did smoothies, and you can make a batch of smoothies and have it for 2 to 3 days, max 3 days. Or you can make a smoothie every day. Really? It takes about 15 minutes to make a smoothie if you're using like frozen fruits and stuff. And then you can just clean up too. So the 15 minutes, including cleanup. And Gloria is saying it's convenient to have the food prepped. Yes. Or the leftover soups or stews on hand, easy. And then you don't need to think about it. So what I advocate and what I like to teach my clients is about prepping ahead, being ready and prepared. I am not a big planner. Oh, that's not my forte. I could learn it, but every time I think, oh, I'm going to plan these big meals and all this stuff, and I'm just going to do it, it just always seems to fall apart after a little while. I get busy and I'm like, oh, what am I going to make? So this is really great. It's just easy for your everyday. And today we're going to do juicing. And this is one of my favorites because juicing is like an IV of nutrients. To boost your energy, you need to add the nutrients. What your body is telling you is either you're not eating enough or you're not eating enough of the right foods. And if we don't have the nutrients in our body, we are going to be depleted. We're going to have that low energy. That's where we're going to get brain fog, and our chronic diseases we just don't have that army of the right cells and the right makeup, the stores in our body to fight off the inflammation and the toxins and all those things that are part of every day. Our body knows how to deal with them. But if our body if we don't have the stores, we don't have the nutrients in our body, it's hard for the body to do anything with it. And so by nutrifying, the beautiful thing is by nutrifying your body, getting those nutrients back in, and also doing some detox, you can actually make changes to reverse that low energy, reverse your chronic disease. If you have high blood pressure or diabetes or any of that, you can reverse it. And I think one of the big aha moments for me is I saw this documentary, just happened to come across my email and I watched it. It's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And he used juicing to reverse his autoimmune disease, got off of all the steroids he was on. And by the way, his diet was a crap diet of fast food, hamburgers, pizzas, all that stuff that tastes good, but is it's such garbage food for our body. Our body does not appreciate it. And not only is it hard, that food is not good for us because it doesn't have nutrients, it actually takes more energy for our body to actually get rid of it out of our system. And so that I highly recommend to watch that documentary, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And Gloria is saying it is a good documentary. That is the start that I had. So it means a lot to me. Right. So all of that, I'm talking on and on about what kind of my experience and what we've done over the week. So let's get into our juicing. I'm so excited for this. I'm going to share with you on my screen so we can talk about the juicing. All right, here it is. Where is it? Got to find the right thing. Let me pull it up. All right. There. Oh, I think that probably the reason is I say smoothies here. I forgot to change the title. It's supposed to be juicing. All right. Oh, I'll have to do that after. All right, so let's talk about the benefits of juicing. All right, so there are a ton of benefits. Number one, it's going to increase your intake of fruits and vegetables. Now, when I did my juicing when I first started, every day I had a big bottle of green juice. I think it would be for my lunch. I'd take it to work. And I think it was about 3 cups of juice. And you know what I felt? I just felt that if I didn't eat anything else that was good for me that day, at least I had that juice that was full of nutrients. And so it also enhances your nutrient absorption. So juicing, think of it as an IV of nutrients. It is going to be the fastest way to get your nutrients into your body. And I just interviewed Dr. Nicolette Richet, who is somebody that I look up to. I am a metabolic nutrition and detox coach from her program. I follow the program. I love it. I'm teaching that program to you in just micro ways. And when I talked to her, she said she has a client. What's the one thing you can do? She said, get some juice into you. She had a client who had been in an accident and had a number of physical impairments, but also her nutrition level was so low. She was basically on the couch. She could barely move. She had no energy. And all she did is she started juicing. And literally, I think she was juicing from her. If you can picture somebody putting the juicer on the coffee table, the fruits and vegetables, and juicing it right there as she's sitting on her table, she could barely get up off of the table. Now, she did that. And over time, it took a little bit of time, she started gaining energy. And before you knew it, she actually had her energy back. So juicing is a great way, because what we're missing when we're low energy, again, I can't say it enough, is the nutrition, the nutrients in our body. So this is going to help boost our overall health because we're getting in those nutrients. It's also, juices are a great way to detoxify your body. There are a number of fruits and vegetables that are actually really great detoxifiers. One that really comes to mind for me is cilantro. It actually binds to the heavy metals that are in our body, and the heavy metals like to go to our brain in the fat, because our brain is actually made up of fatty tissue. And so there's a lot of different foods, fruits, vegetables, and herbs that actually are detoxifying. There's a great way to get your hydration in. We need to be hydrated. We talk about drinking water. Juicing is another way to get your hydration in. Also, eating beautiful, hydrating foods like cucumbers and celery and watermelon are also great. It doesn't have to be from water, but don't make it from things like soda pop, because there's a whole host of other reasons why not, especially the sugars in there. And it will give you a natural energy boost. It supports our brain health. It will aid in digestion for juicing. And you can customize your nutrient intake. But I'm going to say, like we said, for the salads, eat the rainbow, get a variety. It's not about just the same ones all the time. And so, like with anything, this is the thing with nutrition. And I want you to be your own best advocate and come to your conclusions on your own. You don't need to believe me. If you want, you can. I know what my truth is, but there are so many people saying all sorts of things. And this is where it gets hard, because there's confusion in the marketplace. There's confusion for us, because there's always, oh, be vegan. No, be carnivore. It's better for you. Juice? No, don't juice. No, do smoothies. No, don't do smoothies. So you can always find somebody who is saying do or don't do something. My advice to you is to do your own research, be comfortable with it on your own, based on what using the scientific evidence and also what feels good to you and feels good to your body. And whatever program you decide that is the right one for you, and I hope it's the plant forward one like what I teach, but just make sure that you stick to it, because I see this on a lot of Facebook pages. People are all confused and they're trying a little bit of this program and a little bit of that program and a little bit of this one. And if you don't stick for it long enough to actually see if it's going to work, then that's an issue. And if you're looking at something, which I don't recommend, on the keto or carnivore side, it's, yes, a lot of people will feel good, but it's also look at whether it's sustainable and what the long-term health impacts are. They have done studies on keto and carnivore diets, and they actually, the one study, they actually had to stop it because it was causing long-term issues with the heart and arteries in the people. So yes, short term, you might feel good on a lot of these programs, but look for what's long-term, sustainable, and will fit with what you're doing. These are the things. So now I get to make sure that I talk to you about the downsides of juicing, because there are people who will say juicing is bad for you. There's so many bad things about it. So the first one is that, so the difference between juicing and smoothies is the fiber. So in a smoothie, we mash up and we use our blender to basically pulverize and make a liquid out of our fruits and vegetables. But all of the fiber is still there, and we need fiber. In juicing, you'll lose most of the fiber, not all of it. I've done juice fasts. I do that a couple times a year. And I always go back to that because that's the root of how I was able to be successful and clean up my own diet and my own lifestyle. And so I do it. And you don't lose all of the fiber, but you lose a lot of it. But don't forget, if you're using that not as your whole lifestyle, you can do juicing for a short period of time on its own. But long term, we need to have other solid foods. But just remember that the juice is an IV transfusion of nutrients. And especially if you are in a position where you have low energy and you need to boost your energy and your health, then juicing is the fastest way to do that, the fastest way to get those nutrients in. The other one is that it has a high concentration of sugar. Now we have, again, it's the natural sugars. We need glucose. Our body uses glucose. That is the building block of our cells. To get our cells all to work, it's all glucose is the energy. Just like gasoline is the energy for a car, glucose is the energy for our body, our cells. But it's the type of sugar that we're taking in, the type of, that is what is the causes the harm. But also, we're not doing pure veggie juice or fruit juices all the time. In the morning, if you want to have an orange juice with your breakfast, go ahead, have an orange juice. That's perfect. And as a matter of fact, on the Eat Real to Heal program, that's part of it, is optional to have a fruit juice, like not a fruit juice, but an orange juice. But the rest of the day, hey, we have carrots. I have Swiss chard here. I have beets here. We're going to make some juices as well. And another thing that will be said about juicing is that it causes a nutrient imbalance. Variety is king. We always need to be getting a variety of our fruits and vegetables. Some other ones that people will talk about is the caloric intake. Really, juicing is not going to be a lot of calories. And I don't even like to hear people talking about counting calories. We need to get, if we are getting the fruits and vegetables and all of the nutrients, and our body knows what to do, and we don't need to count calories. That is a big myth out there. Another thing is cost. And it can be costly to buy a juicer. And to be honest, I was thinking with my clients that juicing, maybe that's going to be out of their reach so they could do smoothies. And the juicing is out of their reach because of the cost of the juicer. But the cost of a juicer now is totally within the realm of anybody's budget. You can get a really good juicer for under $200 and it'll last you a while. I'm going to show you mine costs more. In the marketplace today, one of my clients bought a really decent Ninja product juicer that's pretty similar to the one I'm going to show you for under $150. And that's Canadian, not US, that's Canadian. So buying a juicer, I would say that might be, especially if you're looking to improve your health, maybe your first investment is to get a juicer. Time consuming it can be. I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can deal with that. There's also that your dental health, because of all the sugars, might be compromised. And the other one, and by the way, if you use a straw to drink your juice, then you can bypass the whole sugar in your mouth from the dental. I've never had any issues with my dental because of sugar, but also you can always rinse your mouth out if you're concerned about that, or brush your teeth after you've done your juice. And like I said, a straw is a great way to get it in quicker. You can get more volume in. And if it tastes not so good to you, it's a great way to get it in faster because of that. When I did my first juice, it stopped me dead in my tracks. It tasted awful to me. It was mostly vegetables. I thought it sounded so good, but that first drink, it's like I hit a wall. And I had to sit there and think, oh my God, am I going to finish drinking this thing that tastes horrible? Or am I going to pour it down the sink? And I am so glad I made the decision to drink it anyway, because I sat there and I said, Debbie, this is what you want to make a change to your life. You want to get off of sugar. You want to feel better. You need to drink this. And so I did. And I literally plugged my nose. A straw can help you to get through that instead of having to plug your nose. But a lot of juices actually taste really good as well. There's ways to make it taste good. And juices also have a short shelf life. So in theory, the best way to have a juice is to drink it right away. And sometimes if you go to work, it's going to be pretty hard to have your juice right away when you're at your lunch. So you may have to plan ahead. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. Okay, here's some common ingredients. And I'm going to make this available to everybody. It'll be in the member site for those who are our VIPs from the Everyday Energy Summit. And I'm also going to put it in the Facebook group. I still have day 4 to put in the Facebook group. I was having some issues with my editor for the videos, and it took 2 days for them to straighten it out. It was an issue with the provider, and now I'm back on track. So I was able to post days 2, 3, and then today I'll post day 4 and day 5 for everybody. So it'll be in the Facebook group, and it's also going to be on the member site for the Everyday Energy Summit. But here's a bunch of common ingredients that can be juiced, and the health benefits are just through the roof. So kale, you've got vitamin A, C, K, iron, antioxidants. It supports immune function, reduces inflammation. And I want to say that one of the health challenges that I had was my thyroid, and I was losing my hair. I literally felt like I had lost 50% of my hair. I came from a background where my mom's hair is like thick, and my hair was pretty thick. And all of a sudden my hair was so thin and I was losing my hair. And I know my grandmother had to deal with the female pattern baldness, which is losing your hair, I went to see the dermatologist, and he gave me some medications to take to try and help, and some vitamins. And I went and I researched, one of them was Rogaine, and I researched it, and it said that they'd never tested it on women. And all of that stuff you put on your scalp gets into your bloodstream through your scalp. And I decided, no, I'm not going to take that. And this is before I did learned a lot about health and nutrition. But I also met a hairdresser who was also into nutrition. And she said to me, Debbie, eat foods that are rich in biotin. And kale is one of them. Also, Swiss chard and collard greens. So when I did my juicing, I was juicing a lot of kale and Swiss chard and biotin. I was buying that stuff. Like, I was using plastic grocery bags just to hold it because I bought so much and I juiced so much of it. And you know what? My hair came back. Most of it came back, and I regained the health of my hair from juicing beautiful biotin-rich foods. Not taking biotin tablets, juicing the foods that are high in biotin. And so kale is one of them. Spinach gives you iron, folate, vitamin A, vitamin C. It promotes eye health and strengthens your immune system. Carrots are a great source of beta carotene, which converts to vitamin A. It supports our vision and our skin health. Beets, we are going to juice carrots and beets today. Beets contain nitrates, which improve the flow of blood, reduce our blood pressure. It's also high in iron and folate. And there was a study done on people that have problem with their joints, like arthritis in their joints. And they found that people in the Eastern European countries had less than in our Western countries here, like in Canada and the US. And they attributed to the high intake of beets in those Eastern European countries. Another good thing. Celery is great for hydration. You could just drink celery juice right by itself. They sell celery juice all by itself. Low in calories, has high anti-inflammatory properties. It's got potassium. It has vitamin A and C. Cucumbers are great for hydration. And I would say that one of the tricks I did when I started juicing is to use cucumber. You'll see today when you're juicing, a lot of the leafy greens, you hardly get any juice out of it. It's like you use a ton of it and you get this little bit of juice. But add in a cucumber and you get all of this great nutrients that will give you a lot of liquid. So my go-to for really getting the liquids is cucumber. I would always be juicing cucumbers because of that. And they are not only supporting our hydration, they've got vitamin K, they have magnesium, which you hear a lot of. Apples, I use green apples in mine. They say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and there is some truth to that, apparently. Ginger aids in our digestion. It reduces nausea and has inflammatory effects. You just need a little bit of ginger. Lemon is great. And when you're juicing, you can actually juice the lemon with the rind on. How does that sound? High in vitamin C. It's got detoxifying properties. It's great for your liver and can be refreshing and aid in our digestion. Pineapple contains bromelain, which is an enzyme that helps with digestion and inflammation. And by the way, the best way to get the bromelain in the pineapple is in the core. Nobody eats the core of the pineapple. You can juice that and make the best of it. Mint is great. I have mint in my garden, not even in my garden, growing all over in the summer in my yard. That's a great one, is to add some mint. It's great for relieving indigestion, and it can help reduce symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. Turmeric is great. You can juice turmeric It will make your juicer look pretty yellow. I think it can stain it too if you're not careful. Actually, I think I stained mine a little tiny bit with turmeric. But turmeric contains curcumin, which is known for its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. One thing about turmeric and curcumin is you should always have a little bit of black pepper with it. So you can add just a touch of black pepper because it helps with the absorption rate increases it by over 2,000%. So those two go together. And parsley is rich in vitamin A, C, K. It's good for your bone health and your immune function. All right. So what kind of juicer should you get? This is what I had when I started, and this is 1.5 years ago now. This is a centrifuge juicer. It comes with this basket, and the basket spins around, and you'll get juice on one side, and in this little pot that's gray color here, you'll get all of the pulp. So you feed it in the chute, and then you've got the pulp on one side and the juice on the other. And it works by spinning around the vegetables against the edge of the basket and all. That's how it works. And it causes some heat. So your juicing purists will say it's not the best because it causes heat, and it's going to heat up the juice, and you're going to lose some of your enzymes. So that's the centrifuge juicer. Then you have the masticating or cold pressed juicer. And this is very similar to the one that I have. And this little auger that you can see on the right side, it's on the right side of my screen, it will crush the vegetables and fruit to get the juice out. And so you've got the juice coming into the one container, and all of the pulp will shoot out in the other container. You've got this little nozzle end that's like a strainer. And then the other one is a twin gear juicer, it's also the masticating or cold press juicer, but it has 2 gears. So what it's going to do is it's going to make it that you're going to get more of the juice out of the fruits and vegetables. When you use the centrifuge, you're going to have more liquid left in, and you can always rejuice the pulp if you want to get it drier. And then again, you're going to have less, it'll be drier pulp from the masticating cold press juicer. And the twin gear is going to be the most efficient and give you the driest pulp and get the most out of the juice and the vegetables and fruits. And I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about the juicer types to start with. The centrifuge juicer, again, it works at high speed and with the force of the high speed spinning around, that's where you get your juice coming out. The pros of that one is that it is fast, affordable, and I just lost my thing. Fast, affordable, and it's good for hard veggies. And when you're using leafy greens, it doesn't do a great job with them. There's the cons of it is that it creates heat, it oxidizes the juice more quickly, that you get a lower yield of juice. And as I mentioned, it's not great for leafy greens. Your masticating juicer, which is your cold press juicer, allows for a slow auger to grind and press the produce, extracting more juice without heat. And you get a higher juice yield, it preserves your nutrients, and it's great for leafy greens. It's a slower process, and buying that juicer is more expensive, but I'm going to say in today's world, I think that is less of an issue than it used to be. Like when I bought my juicer that I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you 2 that I have. I think the first one cost me $400 or $500. And the second one, by the time I converted it to Canadian dollars, because I bought it in the US, it wasn't available in Canada. It was over $1,000, and for shipping and everything. Now, a twin gear titrating juicer you got the 2 gears to crush everything and press the produce. It will be even slower than the masticating juicer, but you're going to get the maximum nutrient retention, the highest juice yield, and it's excellent for all produce. It's the most expensive, the slower juicing process, and it's a bulkier juicer. And I do have a picture of that. Where did I put it? Nope. Something got lost here. Okay, let's just keep going on. It looks, oh, there it is. That's the twin gear one. I forgot. I already showed you that. Okay, so that's the different juicers. And I was just looking online. Twin gear one, the one that I showed you here, this one in Canada, probably on Amazon, was about $1,200 for this Green Star juicer. But again, it's all what you want and what you can do. Okay, so what about fresh versus storing, which I already mentioned, like it's best if you can drink it freshly made immediately. That is going to get you your maximum nutrients and enzymes. There's going to be no oxidation and it's going to have the best taste. Now, my recommendation is you have a juice at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, especially when you're first starting out, to really get that nutrients in. So have it with your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now that's time consuming if you're doing juices 3 times a day. And for people that have chronic diseases, they may need to do even more, especially like cancer, but you need to do more than even 3 times a day. And then there's storing the juice for 1 to 3 days with your cold press juicer. This will save you time. You'll have most of the nutrients will be retained if you store it properly, and it's more convenient, obviously, than doing it one a day. What I used to do is I used to just take all my fruits and vegetables, wash them in the sink on one side, dry them on the other side, and juice them right away, right there. And I would do for 3 days. And I would take a juice for lunch every day. So you're going to get some oxidation and more vitamin loss, and you can have a degradation in your taste. It might not taste as good, but I found it fine. It didn't, you can tell when the things are off. It starts to taste sour. And then storing for 3 or more days, it's still better than a store-bought, and it's convenient for meal planning, but you're going to have significant nutrient loss and may taste less fresh. I don't recommend more than 3 days. And so with the centrifuge juicer, you want to drink it within 24 hours if you can. It's the high speed, again, reduces more oxygen and causes faster oxidation and nutrient loss. Your masticating cold press juicer, up to 3 days. It can last 2 to 3 days if you store it correctly. And your twin gear is where you could make it last up to 4 to 5 days because it's got the maximum nutrient retention and slowest oxidation. All right. This is the last one before we get to the juicing, because I want to get to the juicing. So for batch juicing, it saves on time because you only do it once every 2 to 3 days, but you do have some nutrient loss over time. And also you can, when you're batch juicing, you can do a bigger batch so you can get some consistency because you're not always using exactly the same amount of juices. And it's also keeps it easier to stick to the habit. And yes, you'll lose some enzyme in that, but at least you're doing it. So if you're not going to do it every day, but you can do it every 3 days, then do it every 3 days rather than saying, oh, I don't want to do it every day. I'm not going to do it at all. There's still benefits to it. And then, yeah, so you can store your juice, and then that allows you to be able to not have to prep it every day, but you may lose some of the flavor. And so storing your juices, mason jars are perfect with a lid, filling it to the top to reduce the air exposure and oxidation. Refrigerate it right away so that you keep the cold temperature, reduces the nutrient loss or slows the nutrient loss. You can add a little bit of lemon or lime, like natural vitamin C can act as a preservative. If you have, you could do a vacuum sealed bottle to extend the shelf life. I'd never tried that. And you could try freezing it if it was a last resort to get your juice to last later in the week. I have not done that myself. So that's another thing you could do if you wanted to. All right. So I ran through that. I hope that you got something out of it. And I want to show you how I do my juicing before we go, because that's the important part. It's the whole thing. I think the whole thing is important. All right. So I have two juicers. Oh, you can't. I bet you I need to take this. Stop sharing. All right. Can you guys see me okay now? I've got so I washed all my vegetables here. I'm not going to use all of them, but what I did, I bought these baking trays. They're glass. And so I'll do one of two things. I'll either make the juice right away and bake it for 3 days and store it in my mason jars, or I will at least wash the stuff and then juice for 1 day, rather than do my 3 juices one at a time, which I have done. I'll do all of them in 1 day. The only difference in terms of the time is that cleaning the juicer every time is a lot of work. So I have 2 juicers. I have this Omega juicer, which is a masticating one. This is my first juicer. I don't remember how much it cost. And it was back, I'm going to say around 4 to 5 years ago. I think it was around $400, maybe $500. But now you can buy this for a lot less money now. I think I've seen it for $250. And I'm talking Canadian dollars here, not US dollars. So that's better. So this juicer has this little end goes on here. I have to take it apart. I got all my pieces here. This is the feeder. And I think when it comes to what juicer to buy, the juicer that's the best for you is the one you're going to use. If you buy a juicer that you're going to end up just putting on the shelf or put it in the garage, it's not good. That's not good. I have my auger here I'm going to put in, and then there's a filter. And so pick a juicer that's going to be like that you're going to use. That's the best juicer for you. The other thing I would say from experience is buy one that has a decent thickness of the feeder, because if you have a small feeder and a juicer with a lot of parts, it's going to be harder to clean and it's going to take you more time to chop up all of the vegetables. If you buy one where the feeder is thicker, you can put them in more in there. So this is the auger part. It's pretty easy and there's not too many parts to this. And then there is a container for the juice that comes out. The juice comes out here. And then the pulp comes out the end here. So that's that one. And I'm going to make a little carrot apple juice for you. So let me get going. You just turn it on. And it basically crushes the carrots. And I have this thing to keep it going. But while I'm doing my carrots, I just need to keep feeding carrots in, because the carrots will fit in here. Oh, I just put 2 in. And I'm going to add some apple. Now you can add the apple, the core and all. I usually don't add the core. But you can add the core in if you'd like. Then I would normally add some ginger as well. You can add, and gives it a little flavor too. Just add in the ginger. And that's basically it. And I've got all of my pulp here. Now, this is all pretty much carrot pulp. You can actually, if this is clean, by the way, I washed, but I did not take the skins off of my vegetables, my carrots, because there's a lot of nutrients in the skin. If you, some people will say, and I think I did at first, felt that it felt a little earthy without taking the skins off. If that's a really big deal for you, take the skins off versus not doing it at all. But I would try to use the full carrot with the skins. It's much better for you. So you could use this pulp to make all sorts of things, or feed it to your, I have a friend who feeds it to her birds, or put it in the compost, but there's lots of things you can use that for. And I'm just going to quickly run that in here. So here's my juice. So that gives about a little over a cup of carrot and apple juice. And I did about 5 or 6 carrots, I would say, for that. And there, I could use more, but I'm going to put it to the side and show you my Nama 2 juicer. So let me put this to the side. And I'm going to bring out this juicer. So this is the Nama 2 juicer. And it's the same, it's the same kind of cold press masticating juicer, but the auger and all is in this part, and it spins around and in there, and there's a basket that pushes or keeps the stuff from moving around. So it's became a self feeder. And this is the hopper where you put your vegetables and fruits in. And so I'm going to do that right now. And for this one, I like to start by putting in my leafy greens. So I have some lettuce here, romaine lettuce. I'm just going to add in. And the beauty of juicing is your fruits and vegetables don't need to be the freshest. You want them fresh, but let's say they have bruises on them, or this one, they're starting to go a little bit rusty in the middle. It's okay. You can still use those. It doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing. And that's what I love about the juicers and the juicing. But I like to put the leafy greens in first, because then I could put the harder, more dense vegetables on top to get them to go. So I just cut up a couple of Swiss chard leaves with the veins in it that I'm going to use. I also have some beet leaves here that I'm going to use. Most of them is the stems. I'm going to add that in. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to add a beet in. Now I've got the ends here. I can take that off because sometimes it's hard to clean that. So I usually don't juice that part. But I do juice the beet with the skins on. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add that in. And once the hopper is full here, I'm going to close it up. And then, I got to make sure I have my bins in place. But the juice is going to come out on this side, and there's a little stopper here. So the juice comes out here, and the pulp goes in this one, and you just turn it on. Just gonna add some red cabbage and the red cabbage through the middle here. There's a feeder on the top. Some apple. When you lift up the hopper here, it will actually, it's a safety lid, it will stop. So this is a way that you can juice, and then I can have this little thing that comes in. So I've got most of it. I'm going to finish juicing it later. I don't want to take up all your time for that. And then I get this beautiful juice. It tastes really good. Especially you can add a little more sweetness with a little more apple to it as well. But that's basically all you do. And so what I love about this one is that I could just set it and almost forget it. I can put all my stuff in. I don't need to feed it. I can use bigger chunks. I found with the beet leaves, if I leave them whole and just crumple them up, they get tangled into the feeder part, the automatic feeder. So I do still cut things up, but it's a easy way and you're not sitting there feeding it. So it makes it a little quicker for you on that note. And that juicer I bought 2 years ago, I think, and I had to buy it. The only place to buy it was in the US. The guy who invented or made this is actually the same guy who stars in Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. His name is Joe Cross, and he's made a business out of the juice reboot through his Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead program. And so he founded this company called NAMA, and this is the NAMA J2. I think you can also get a smaller juicer. I'm not sure. And I think now other companies are catching on to this. And so if you look around and research, you could probably find a good juicer. Look at the comments and all that, and you could probably find one of these self-feeding type juicers that are definitely less costly than over $1,000, because exchange rate and shipping to Canada really jacked it up. I think you can get them in the US, or at least you could at the time, for $500-600. But I would say if you're looking for a juicer, shop around, get one that you're going to use. Number one, you're going to use. Number two, it's easy to feed. It has a decent size feeder. And number three, it's easy to clean. Those would be my 3 words of advice for you. And even if you don't have a big amount of money for an investment, you can get a very good juicer for under $250 now. And I would say, with that knowledge in my mind, I would say that if you're looking to make some changes, I think that the fastest way and the way I would recommend is to look at starting to do some juicing. That would be my recommendation. And they taste good. Tastes pretty good. And I have a client that's in my city. I went over to her house. We set up her juicer. She said, oh, there's so many parts. And I said, okay, I'm bringing my juicer just to see in case. And she was so concerned. We set her juicer up. It was very similar to the first juicer that I used. And like I said, she bought it at Costco for $150. I think even my juicer's now $250 and not like $500. So it's a great time to do juicing. So I'm going to put all this stuff in the recipes for the juices in the chat. And I know that we're 5 minutes over time. I wanted to let you know about my Jumpstart detox program that I'm going to be running starting on March the 3rd for 3 weeks. It's a 3-week program. But I guess if I could, if you wanted to hear about that, then I just want, if somebody wants to let me know, that would be okay to talk about, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll call it a day and call it a week. We learned a lot over the week. And I hope that you pick at least one thing to try and add that to your lifestyle. This is how you can make small, sustainable changes to gain more energy and improve your health and well-being. So I'm just going to get the links for you for the juice so that you can get
Debbie, if everyone's okay, I'd like to hear a little bit about your detox program.
All right. Beautiful. Hang on. Let me get the recipe for the juices. Yeah, and let me get the recipes, and then if you're not interested in hearing about it, then you could get the recipes and head on with the rest of your day and your weekend. So I'm just going to let me just thank everyone in case people have to leave or want to leave. Thank you for coming and joining me on this week. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy doing this. I got away from it a little bit, but I'm really happy to be back doing my in the kitchen and just really helping. I hope I'm inspiring people to try some new things. And I don't think that any of this stuff is rocket science, but I think we just need to remind ourselves about some of the things we can do that are easy to be able to improve our health. And on that note, I'm going to thank everyone again and enjoy your weekend. And now I'm going to just give you a little bit about the the Jumpstart detox program. Let me just get that. Hang on. I'll give you the link if you want to join the Jumpstart, but I'm also going to share with you the Jumpstart so that if you were interested in it. Okay. So this is how I got started with this kind of idea of the Jumpstart. I just basically did it on my own, and you can do all of this on your own. No problems there. But I think doing it with other people, doing it in community makes it a lot easier. It can be inspiring for you as well, just in terms of being able to stick with things and all that. So let me share my screen. So this is it's the 21-day Jumpstart to Thriving. It's a detox program. So this program, the 21 days, and I found this about 4 to 5 years ago, and I really like it because it provides some safety and it eases you into the juices instead of jump right into the juicing I was doing it for a month, and I didn't always make the whole month, but I did try to make the whole month. This one gives you a week where you eat plant-based for the week and you start lowering your intake of food, or you have one healthy, beautiful meal every day in the whatever time you want, but mostly in the evening or in the late afternoon. And you have juices and smoothies the rest of the day. And then the second week is where you go to liquid only, and that's mostly juicing. And you would do that juicing for a week. And then the third week, you reintroduce food so that by the time you get to the end of the week, you can get back, you can be at a place where you can get back to what I'll call quote unquote normal eating. And I'm encouraged people to not just go back to what they were eating before, but think about one thing you want to change in your diet going forward. You don't have to totally overhaul your diet. I started by getting rid of processed sugar. Then I did different things because doing everything all at once takes time. But my process, I eventually gave up like potato chips and things like that. And my last one is to get to pasta and stuff, or at least to minimize it. Anyway, this is a great way to give yourself that jumpstart or that reboot to really getting that energy back in you. So what we do is we'll have a customized meal plan for you and grocery list. It can be tailored to you. I meet with you to go through not go through all of the program in detail, but to make sure that we get it tailored to work for you and your lifestyle. So I do meet with you every week I've been doing it Mondays at 1 p.m. and I might change that time, but once a week we do a teaching and a Q&A session so that you can stay on top of things. You also we have a community that we're building. So this is like-minded people. And so you can get in touch with other people and myself. I'm also there. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions offline. And I have a WhatsApp, and I will do a WhatsApp group so that you can ask questions in the WhatsApp group. I find that's the easiest way for people to communicate with each other. And as a bonus, I have a recipe ebook of easy, delicious, and nutrient-packed recipes that will make it easier for you to eat healthy and simple things. It's all about simple, but you want it delicious too. In addition, I do a progress and goal setting session. So in week 3, you can set up a meeting with me. I encourage you to set up a meeting with me so we can look at what's the next step. So you do the 3 weeks. What do you do then? And I said, I don't want to see you go back to just your normal, what you've been eating before that. It's about making some kind of sustainable change. It doesn't have to be big, but that's part of the reason to meet with me, is to set up a personalized plan for sustaining long-term results after the program ends. And the last thing is that we didn't talk a lot about it this week, but in order to make sustainable changes, we need to change how we think about things. And so I have a really exclusive bonus. It's a really great bonus. It's a program called the Ultimate Self Mastery. It is a 12-month program that you would have. There's weekly video, so 52 weeks of teachings that's available to you. And you also have the program also has a monthly coaching call. And I don't run the program. I am a trainer in the program, but the program is run out of Peter Sage Academy. And this program is an award-winning program. And Peter Sage delivers all of the teachings. He is, I think he spent 10 years as a trainer under Tony Robbins, and he's been 30 years in the personal growth and transformation arena, both for himself and teaching others. And so this is a really great program to help you to make some changes to maybe procrastination. Me, it was procrastination and self-sabotage. And I took this program, and I've learned a lot for myself as well, and became a fan of Peter Sage through his work that he does. Anyway, so that you would get that. Now that program it retails for $350 or $349, I think, US. and that you would get that totally as part of this program because I want you to be successful. So this program that I'm offering is $197 US, and I give you $100 discount for that if you want to take advantage of that. So I'm starting the program on March the 2nd. I'm going to do a webinar next week on Wednesday it's like the prep, how to get started in the program so you can get more ideas. And if you decide you want to do it on your own, I'm perfectly happy with that. Look for more information on the Wednesday if you want to hear more about how the program works. But if you're interested in jumping into it up until March the 2nd, so the 3rd is the date we start. But if you join by 11:59 on March the 2nd, and I'll make that 11:59 in your time zone. I'm not going to cut it off before then. If you use the code Jumpstart50, you get that for $97 instead of $197. And for those people who are Canadians, I want to also honor the fact that you are Canadian. And if you get in touch with me, I will look at giving you that on par with Canadian dollars. I can't do it it doesn't work here, but I will make it on par with Canadian dollars. But I have to give you a special link for that if you're interested. So let me go see if there's any questions about the Jumpstart, 21-day Jumpstart to Thriving program. Like I said, it's a detox program to get you started. And I'm going to stop sharing. I'll give you the code. That's the link if you want to get into it and sign up. I'm going to give you my email if you want to. Here's my email if you have any questions or you'd like to get the on par Canadian version as a Canadian, because I do want to honor the on par for Canadians. And yeah, that's basically the program. And I'm looking forward to any questions, or if you're ready to join or you want to come on Wednesday and see what it's all about, so you can make a decision from there. All right. I don't see any questions. So I thank you for letting me share that with you. And I really hope that you have a wonderful day. And drop me an email or put something in our Facebook group if you're part of the Facebook group on how you found this week. Was it useful for you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this week. Did you learn something? And you know what, even if it's stuff you already knew, because I think that most of us know it, sometimes it's just good to have a little refresher and a little different perspective. So thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy your weekend.